All right, here we have operations that happen to have imaginary terms. So guess what? It's the same process. You combine like terms. So notice what I'm going to do first. I notice that there's a negative sign on the outside. And there's a couple different ways you could do it. You could change that to a -1 and then -1 times each of those things. Or you could think about the negative subtract sign means do the opposite. So, and I think that that was the approach I showed here. So I remove the parentheses, 2 plus 2i, subtract -8, then subtract +6i. So this subtract sign, the opposite of adding is subtracting, and here subtract a negative, and the opposite of a negative is a positive, so that can be simplified further. So since subtract a negative is +8, here we have 2 plus 8, and then 2i subtract 6i, which will simplify to 4i. So 2 plus 8 is 10. 2i subtract 6i is -4. So this right here is the simplified. All we did is combine like terms. Now down here, for number 23, yes, you have two binomials. You can think about it as doing the FOIL method. If some of you love that method, the other thing I want you to think about is you could just look at it as two distributive. So the first term is -6, and you're going to multiply -6 by that second whole expression, and then you have -7i, and -7i you're going to multiply by that whole expression. Whoops. And then you're just going to do the distributive, and sometimes it ultimately ends up being a better practice, because cover up this stuff so we're not looking at it, because FOIL only works when they're binomials. All right, so let's go ahead and move this out of the way. I set it up as two distributives like I did a second ago, and then you're just going to do the distributive. And then over here, -7i times -4, -7i times +4i, so I times I. So let's get that moved out of the way. So -6 times -4, so we're going to have a +24. -6 times +4i, we're in a, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and move this. So -6 times -4 is 24. -6 times 4i is -24i. -7i times 4, negative times negative is +28i. -7 times 4i is -28i squared. But I squared is -1. Negative times negative is a positive. I probably didn't simplify that quite yet. So we have 24, -24i plus +28i. Those two things are alike. They both have I to the first. When you add them together, you get 4i. And then I squared is -1. Negative times negative is a positive. 28 plus 24. There we go. 28 plus 24. Very last step. Ta-da! That's all there is to it.